wouldn't be the beginning of a college basketball season if the 21 Questions college basketball preview didn't happen. 3 years running, one of the longest running series we have on this podcast. Very, very excited to introduce Alex Cervantes and Karl Heiser of the Gym Range podcast. Obviously got a lot going on personally out in the college basketball season this year. We're going to talk a little about that and what you guys are doing, as well as the pod, of course. And then for those that might be new, just kind of introducing themselves. But we're going to jump into just a general overview of the college basketball season for those that might be new. I'll link the last 2 years below. There's some really fun nuggets in there. There's some Texas Tech predictions from Karl Heiser. There's some fun Northwestern finishing second things. I'm leaving out, obviously, a lot of great content, but we get into some really cool stuff. I try not to do the same questions year over year. Obviously, we still want an overarching, bubble over college basketball here and kind of cover it at a grand scale, which is really do when there's 362 programs. But you'll get an idea of kind of where we're going with it as we go. Before we do that, we'll introduce these guys from my left to right. So, Alex, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Appreciate you having us back on once again. As always, excited for the season to start, and I guess it's under a month now. So, change of scenery for me, but looking forward to it.
If John Rothstein serves any purpose at all, it's the 29-day, 28-day, 27-day counter for college basketball. That's actually the best way to keep up with it. He obviously does a lot of great work, but that is probably the biggest blessing he gives to the college basketball Twitter space is the day, just every day. I kind of know, like, he used to do it in weeks, and now it's days, and so that's how you know it's getting real close. I know last year I joked about like frost advisories and all kinds of stuff, and it's been 85 degrees here in North Carolina, so don't have anything like that prepared. But Karl, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's really good to be back with you guys. Off season really flew by. Recently been enjoying the Washington Commanders being more than a competent football team, which I never thought I would see again in my lifetime. Apologies to my Carolina Panthers fans out there, but the Commanders look pretty good, so that's exciting. It's been a while.
I love it. Hey, college basketball's not started yet, so football talk is always fun and appreciated. 4-1. Congrats on the 4-1 start for a rookie quarterback. Other than that, I haven't been watching football as much as I'd like. So a lot going on. College basketball is a big part of that. We'll be doing the College Basketball Magazine, House of College Hoops. We'll be presenting that this year with everything college basketball. Those pre-orders begin this week, so I'll link that below once the episode goes out. This episode may be a little closer to college basketball season because the NBA starts to kind of get weird in the preseason now. So that prep begins soon. But these guys, this opinion or this podcast will be out and about before the college basketball season begins on a weird November 4th Monday evening. I don't know if people are aware of that just yet till they look at their calendars, but a Monday evening start. So that is going to be really interesting. I just remember it being closer to the weekend in the past. So enough of that. Let's jump into question number one, and we'll just kind of keep rolling from there. And then at the end, we definitely want you guys to kind of talk about what any plans this season, that kind of thing. So I did send these guys questions ahead of time. For those that are new here, might not know that. We try to do that now. I think it's really good preparedness. These guys are really great as always. But then the last five are just going to kind of take us out of college basketball normalcy, and they don't know what's coming. So favorite storyline in the country heading into the season, Karl? Your favorite?
I have a really, I think, underrated one. It's just something I've been thinking about maybe way too much recently. So there's a guy by the name of Fedor Zugic who's coming in as a freshman for Creighton. All right, he's from Montenegro. He has played 192 professional games in Europe. He's coming in as a 21-year-old freshman. Supposed to be a pretty good shooter. We're already in the Wild West as far as college sports is concerned with NIL and the transfer portal and all that. If now we're allowing international players with 4 years, 192 games of professional experience under their belt to just come in and be a freshman in college basketball, crazy. And if he is eligible, the most recent word from Greg McDermott is they have a quote unquote, a few more steps to ensure that he's eligible, whatever that means. If he is small scale, I think Creighton is potentially going to fight for the top spot in the Big East. I think they could be that good if he's eligible. Large scale, looking even past Creighton, I mean, college sports is going to be crazy. You can just get anybody now.
So the funny thing is, really quick, obviously the whole point of this podcast today, I'm not going to interject a ton because I want these guys to kind of shine through. But if I understand it, and I am not the NIL expert, let's just put that out there at the beginning of this sentence, but These guys can't earn NIL money. So the fact that he's like, yeah, Creighton, Greg McDermott, I'd love to sit in on that pitch for about 4 minutes and just hear like, hey, I'm going to pull you away from, one of the best leagues in the world to come play in the Big East, which I'm probably going to lose a lot of followers for what I just said, as if implying the Big East is not one of the best leagues in the world. So my apologies there. Yeah. Anything else with the Creighton storyline, Alex or Karl?
I don't have anything for Creighton.
That was a weird one to kick us off.
It's good. It's really good.
I don't know. I just feel like the implications of this are like bigger than most people are giving it credit for.
It goes from Europe to Omaha. It's just such a fun like thing to think about. It's going to be in the middle of the country, in the middle of cornfields. It's just wild. Alex, what's your biggest storyline or favorite?
I think my favorite is just going to be monitoring how the freshly realigned West Coast teams in the Big Ten and ACC especially adjust to the very frequent in-season conference flight pass. And I'd like someone to set an over-under on when the first coach begins complaining about it, and then how quickly players begin to kind of endorse the same thing. Because it just, it is what it is at this point. Like Cal and we don't have to beat a dead horse with Cal and Stanford playing in the ACC, and you've got the 4 formerly Pac-12 teams playing in the Big Ten. But I can just already imagine the little slip-ups, and a coach opens up his post-game presser, and the SID is like, "Can we open it?" And now coach whoever it is, Sprinkle or
Capel. Just gonna say it now.
Yeah,
Capel.
So they're gonna let it slip, and it's just gonna be it's gonna be a firestorm on social media for like a week. It's gonna be a whole story. You're gonna have people polling the players. I think it's already an issue for the non-rev athletes. So,
yep.
It's just I'm just gonna be interested to see how it develops kind of in year one.
Yeah, something to think about with the ACC. Like I'd have to look at the schedule in more depth. The composite schedule isn't actually, it's out, but you go to their website, acc.com, and it's not pulling up like it's supposed to. And so I know Stanford and Cal, some of their trips are structured around Christmas break, but the ACC schedule is 2.5 months long. Like, so you can only fit so many, we're going to do that. We're going to hit all these games while we're in December. And it's like, when no one's on break or when no one's there, it's like, okay, but that doesn't solve mid-January. It doesn't solve February midterms. It doesn't solve March. Doesn't solve any of that, right? Once it's in March, whatever it is, what it is. Like, the travel's expected. But I'm with you. I think that's really, really good. Anything on schedule, Karl?
I mean, I already know who the first coach to complain about it's going to be. It's going to be Kevin Willard, guaranteed. He has already been very vocal about how the Big Ten does not know how to schedule basketball games correctly, and now they're making him fly from Washington, D.C. to Washington State. So he's not going to be pleased with that. I can already guarantee you.
It's so funny. It's so funny if they're traditional. The teams that were already in the Big Ten and ACC are going to be the ones complaining more than the West Coast teams. I'm going to find that really rich.
Yeah, right.
That's the case.
Not Kevin Willard's fault.
They have to make one trip to play UCLA and USC in like the same 4-day span, and coaches are complaining about it. Meanwhile, USC and UCLA are going on the road anyway.
Mind you, they're the one that gets paid a couple $1 million a year to do it. Not the athletes, some of them do obviously make $1 million or something, but like the coach is going to be the one complaining, and they're the one who gets paid full time to do it for a living. It is an interesting balance. And then my only point with Maryland there, it's not Kevin Willard's fault that Maryland left the ACC for the Big Ten when they never should have done it. So neither here nor there. Karl and I have talked about that many times.
I mean, I agree with you, but
okay, I've always just,
I'm there
it's
too,
just,
by the way.
It's a homer thing. I know it sucks, but. All right, this is my favorite question out of the normal 16. Probably one of my favorite. Who is this year's Dalton Connect, Alex?
Okay, I was texting Karl about this beforehand, and I need to ask: is this question about who's the next super tough white hooper, or is it who's the next like up transfer that is gonna take people by surprise?
The latter, without a doubt. The idea is I had heard of Dalton Connect as a college basketball sicko and whatever you want to call this writer podcaster But let's be real. The general consensus of America did not know who Dalton Knecht was 18 months ago. So that's kind of my thought process.
Sure.
Okay. I don't think I in that case, I don't think I have that creative or good of an answer. I settled on Tucker DeVries just
I
because
knew
I
it.
don't
I knew it, dude.
I just don't.
You're right.
Like,
It's not the right. It's definitely not what I was looking for, but I understand where you're coming from.
I settled on him just because I don't know how many people like if you want it in the scope of college basketball casuals watching Drake hoops for the last couple of years. I don't know how many people are gonna know who
My
he
only
is now that he's
pushback-
playing for the West Virginia.
They were a
Yeah.
tournament team. That was my only pushback.
I know.
They
I
were
know.
okay. All right.
I wanted to preface this that I didn't have a good answer because my answer was going to be if you just want a white hooper that's going to be really nice is Con Knipple. So that was anyway.
Okay. I see it. I'm a little. I had to think about it for a second, but I see it. Yeah. Duke propaganda, Karl.
He was another guy I had as well. I was going to go with whichever one of these two guys Alex did not say, so I'm going to pass up on Tucker DeVries. But to keep in mind, situation is like perfect for him. His dad's the coach. The team probably isn't going to be like that good, but he is going to be playing in the Big 12, and he's also just nasty at basketball. So,
Yeah.
I think it would be fun if it was another Northern Colorado transfer. I'm going to go with St. Thomas of USC. Eric Musselman went on the record at media day and was like, I don't know the exact quote, so forgive me, but
It's okay. Paraphrase.
he's one of the most gifted or talented guys like I've ever coached or something like that.
That's all
Like
this.
Eric Musselman, some of that is definitely coach speak. Like he's just, trying to hype up his guys. But if there is any truth to that and Eric Musselman sees like the best in St. Thomas, who by the way averaged like 19-9 for Northern Colorado last year. Like he was insanely productive.
Yeah.
I think he could be, the feature piece for this USC team that's loaded with transfers. So I think that would be a fun little parallel if we got another just baller from Northern Colorado.
This is the same Eric Musselman, by the way, that coached in the NBA in multiple stints. So I think it is some coach speak, but
yeah,
there's enough track record of those kind of guys doing really well at the high major level that at least recently that I think I believe him some way. He also seems like a genuine dude. I do, from what I've seen from us, I do somewhat believe him. I'm probably 70% warm believing him. So let's go to who has the best backcourt in the country, Alex. And I'll give you a follow-up to this. Who has the best backcourt in the country? And then is the answer clear cut to you?
Can I ask another clarifying question?
This is actually a good question he has.
What are we doing with wing? What are we doing with wings? Because I think of that Brad Stevens quote in the mid 2010s when he took over the Boston Celtics, and he was like, "Positionality is dead. I have ball handlers, wings, and I have big men."
So according to Andy Katz, positions are not dead because there's lists come out every year that give us these backcourts and frontcourts.
I don't want the Andy Katz list prop right now. But so what do you want me to do with wings? Like, is that just at my discretion, or do I?
This is you guys' answer. This is you guys' show. I'm just here to facilitate it. So
okay. Well, I guess I'll loop them into the front court. I don't know.
Okay. Now you can. Let's talk it out. I like this. Let's talk this out.
I think the best backcourt, and I don't think it's clear cut because I wrestled with two teams, but I think it's Carolina.
Okay.
And I settled on that you return RJ Davis, who is going to be the presumptive ACC Player of the Year, guy who averaged 21, 3.5. Listen, I'm going to say this again during this episode, probably ad nauseum. I'm a sucker for off-season buzz, and I don't know if I believe it, but if Elliot Cadeau has really been making 100 threes a day,
yes,
does that translate? Like we will see, because I think, I mean, if teams can't punk him anymore, and he doesn't. Teams can't do what Nate Oates did to him in the Sweet 16. Like, this is Cadeau and RJ Davis might be the best backcourt pairing in the country. So I think factor that in with you get Seth Trimble back after he entered the transfer portal. He's an elite defender. We'll see if the offense ever comes along. And then kind of it's the exact opposite for Ian Jackson, your star freshman kind of in that pool that probably, I don't know. I'm curious to see with him because so much of his production in high school is with the ball in his hands, and that just won't really be the case with the offense going through RJ and Elliott. So I don't know. He's got all the talent in the world. He's super springy. His scoring prowess speaks for itself. But that quartet kind of just pushed them over the hump in comparison with Baylor, which was the other team I was thinking about.
Okay. So let me really quick before Karl gives his answer, because obviously there's multiple choices here. You're probably not going to say Carolina, I would guess. So the reason I asked this question is because Field of 68 posted a top 10 backcourts in college basketball. It says via Rob Doster, so let's just include that nugget as well. And Carolina was 4th. And then I sent this, and I had an argument with a Carolina fan for probably 3 days about how they're not the best backcourt in the country. And I'm curious and I'm only bringing that up because I'm curious where Karl goes with this. That was the inspiration for the question. So
this was not a clear-cut question for me, like at
me
all.
neither, and that's why I asked.
There's like 4 or 5 teams I have listed here where I'm like, there's an argument there. I ultimately actually did settle on Carolina just because they returned.
I'm on an island. This is good.
They returned the entire backcourt from a team that was a 1 seed in the tournament, and just like being the incumbents there. Obviously, having Baycott down low anchoring the front court was like a big piece of that as well. But that's just sort of the type of continuity. We already know what the higher end outcome is for that group. So that's who I settled on. Raw talent wise, there's an argument to be made for Arkansas. I will say that. If DJ Wagner takes a step, Boogie Fland is pretty nasty. We've seen what John L. Davis can do. If you include wings, AJ Storr, Zeke Mayo, it could be Kansas. If you include wings, but like they have this just like massive wings that like I don't really know what you do with all of them. Like, what is Rylan Griffin a guard? Like, is AJ Storr a guard? I don't know.
I think it's the same question for Duke too.
Yeah,
honestly,
it is. I thought that's where you were going with it. I really thought the Duke is where you were going with it because of that question.
No.
Which makes sense to me.
But not clear cut. The other teams I did want to shout out just to give them a mention. Alex mentioned Baylor, Florida. I think they have a pretty nasty backcourt, and Iowa State. I really like their backcourt as well.
So I love the Arkansas answer because it's not on this list that I have in my hand at all. Not even on the top 10. And so I'll read them just for context and we can move on. Alabama was number 1. Mark Sears, Chris Youngblood, who I know is going to be hurt until about SEC play. Latrell Wrightsell, Aiden Holloway, and Houston Mallett. Kansas was number 2. Ryan Nimhard heading up the Gonzaga backcourt at 3. Nolan Hickman, Khalif Battle, and Dusty Stromer. Purdue, number 5. Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, Cam Hyde, Miles Colvin, and Jakari.
I disagree with that ranking very strongly. I think they're significantly lower than that. But anyway.
And wait till you hear the ones after. Baylor was 6. I'm glad you gave Baylor a nice shout out there. LJ Cryer and Houston Cougars are 7. Duke at 8. Iowa State at 9. So good shout there. And then leading the charge at 10 is St. John's with Kadari Richmond, who is the Trader of the Year. So there's your top 10 for according to Rob Doster. So. All right, let's rapid fire this one. Who's the best backcourt or front court? Excuse me. Who's the best front court in the country, Karl?
Best front court. This is probably not a popular pick. Maybe it is a popular pick. I don't know. We'll see. I actually went Alabama for this because I think bringing in Cliff Morey, like rock solid defensive center, which is something that they very much needed. Plus, you have Grant Nelson. Plus they have, who's the other center they had like stretching the floor last year, whose name is escaping me, but
Jaron Stevenson.
Yes, Jaron Stevenson. I like their front court a lot. I'll wait to see what Alex has to say. There's 2 other teams I had that like I think there's a pretty good argument for, but I ultimately settled on Alabama.
I too settled on Alabama.
There it is.
Okay.
It was Bama. It was the court. Like if we strictly talk front court, it was the fact that you're going to start Grant Nelson and Amori. You don't have to play Nelson at the 5. You have an anchor down low finally in Amori. It frees up Nelson to kind of attack smaller wings offensively that are going to be matched up against him. And then you can just bring Jaron Stevenson and Aiden Sherrill off the bench just because. Like they only have to play 12 to 15 minutes a night.
Yep.
So I think even if depth becomes a concern, like it shouldn't be an issue. And I also can we loop in Darian Reed too to this kind of mix, because I think he's going to play some minutes. He's a 6'8". Again, he's a wing, so like I don't know where we'd want to put him with that group. I do think wings kind of collectively are separate, but
the closer you are to 6'8", and you just said he is 6'8", like it just you can play the front court at that point.
Exactly.
I'm okay with injecting any direction there. So
he'll play the 3, maybe. I doubt. I don't know. I don't know what they do with him, but yeah, I settled on Bama. I thought about Duke, but it just they're so young. Like I like Flag, Malwatch. I think you would loop Gillis into the front court. Malik Brown, I think people are severely underrating just in terms of how immediate he's going to be able to, how immediately productive he'll be for that team, whether he starts or whether he comes off the bench on November 4th against Maine. And then I thought, yeah, it was kind of Bama, Duke, and Kansas, and the Duke Kansas thing came down to whether the wings counted for the front court, and so I rolled with Bama.
I left that up for interpretation on purpose, and I'm glad you asked. I'll ask you this:
Kansas was the other team I had listed because like Dickinson and Adams back. I think you got to give them a shout. I also, as much as I hate to say it, I think Indiana has a pretty nice front court.
They do. That's without Collier too.
I won't lie.
It's good. It's good. I'll ask you guys this really fast. So Alex mentioned Duke, and we may not get to this again at some point. I know Duke is kind of on the list here a couple of times for different reasons. Who's the last team, just really quick off the top of your head, last team to win a national championship with three freshmen playing more than 20 minutes a game?
2015 Duke.
That's you. Yep. That's literally it. Yeah. And so it's possible. That team was really, really good. I know they were led by Quinn Cook. And so who is that Quinn Cook this year? I don't know. That's up for everybody to figure out. This is one of my favorite questions as well. I have a couple of good ones in there that I like a lot. Karl, who's your plant your flag team, and why is it Texas Tech? No, I'm just joking. Who is your plant your flag team?
I guess so. My one question here is like, sorry, I have to clarify. Just by plant your flag team, how like good can they already be considered? If you know what
I don't care. Like, who's a team that you were like you're not backing down from of like this is a team I'm riding with the whole year?
I'm pretty bought in on Baylor. I won't lie. Already mentioned the backcourt. Like having Jeremy Roach, people were giving so much shine to Tyrese Proctor last year for Duke that they forgot all about Jeremy Roach, like being the upperclassman guard on that team. Now he's a fifth year for Baylor. I think Scott Drew's going to do wonders with him. VJ Edgecombe,
who hasn't played point guard in 4 years. Like truly.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
VJ Edgecombe, who I will bring up later, I promise.
I knew it. I knew it.
Sick. He's going to be awesome. Who do they have back? Jaden Nunn is back. In the front court, they bring in Norchad Omier, who's just like, a beast down low. I like Baylor a lot. I think like defensively, they'll be a little bit better than we've seen previously. And I think the offense will definitely be there. We've seen Scott Drew. He's able to give shine to like these freshman scorers. He's had one each of the last 2 years with Keontae George and Jacoby Walter. I think VJ Edgecombe might even be better than those guys. So I like Baylor a lot.
Alex, plant your flag. Who is it?
Wake Forest. I'm so in.
Oh, let's go. Yes, me
too.
They're the whole reason for this question.
I am so unbelievably in on Wake Forest. You want my take? And I've been floating this to people before the season starts. I think Wake wins the
whatever
ACC.
You say. Oh, okay. That's not. Yeah. No.
I think Wake wins the ACC because they have a stretch on their schedule where they host Duke and Carolina at the Joel back-to-back at the end of January. And I think those two games decide the ACC. And I think they probably win both of them. I think Steve Forbes is likely going to outcoach Shire and Hubert Davis. And here's my thing. Hunter Salas arrived in Winston-Salem and averaged 18, 4, and almost 2.5 assists per game. And Steve Forbes is like, yeah, we're going to give him the ball more this year. You're going to have Efton Reed Like their top 8 rotation of it's Salas, it's Hildreth, Efton Reed, Tyler Johnson. You've got Spillers from App State, Friedrichsen. I don't know if he starts or he comes off the bench.
He's gonna play no matter what, though. He's gonna be so good.
Juke Harris, and you have the swings with Harris and Omaha Blue. Like I'm all the way in on Wake this year. So
I did not think that was what you were going to say, but forgetting you were an ACC guy. And so that true to the heart, at least. And so, I won't go on for too long because I have a whole preview written for them coming out. People can pay $15 for, but I've been saying this to everybody. I've had coaches text me about Frederickson. Like that just shows you he's their like 7th, 8th talent wise man. Yeah. And he's an incredible player. I've had coaches text me and say, yeah, that kid's going to change their whole season. And I'm like, it's June. So anyway, this is my statement I'm sticking to. All of my eggs are in the Wake Forest basket. That is that is my
love that. I love that pick so much.
If Forbes can remedy their atrocious, like home away, just like splits and performances from last season in any reasonable fashion,
correct.
This is going to be a season to remember.
So they basically, I've got to be so short because we got so much to get to. But I saw them last year in Charleston. I was at the Charleston Classic, and this was before Efton Reed got his waiver, right? And that team was decimated in the front court. And think about the teams that they played in that tournament, right? Utah, one of the most physical front courts in the entire country last year, even though they weren't, top 25 good. They played Houston. They played North Texas. St. John's was even in that tournament. Every team in that they were the 8th best front court in that tournament. And North Texas was in it at one point. And so it's like that they fixed that immediately last year and they went on the run. They almost made the NCAA tournament. And so they have Efton Reed for a full offseason and a full season. And they add all of the depth. Like this team's going to be so good. I can't wait to get to the Joel.
That's such a fun take too, considering they lost 2 double-digit scorers in Carr and Miller as well. It's like it's very like it subverts your expectations a lot. But I'm here for Hunter Salas taking like 25 shots a game. I'm totally here for it.
Addition by subtraction. Okay, what team will Karl probably be wrong about by the end of the year? And you're just cool with it.
I got a crazy one here.
Okay.
UConn. I'm a little bit lower on UConn actually than I think most people are. I think people are kind of giving them a little bit too much of a pass because they've won the last 2 national titles. I think this roster on paper is like significantly worse than each of the last 2 seasons.
Yes.
I really like Liam McNeely. I do. I think Aiden Mahaney's nice, even if he didn't really elevate from his freshman to sophomore year. He was kind of the same guy. And so maybe that addition has been overhyped just like a little bit. They've lost just a whole host of NBA players over the last couple of years, as much as they're trying to convince us that like Samson Johnson and Hassan Diarra are going to, elevate and lead this team. And like Solomon Ball, who I think is fine. I just don't really see it. Like I like Dan Hurley a lot. I think he's a fantastic coach. He's proven that in spades over the last couple of years, but I think he's got his work cut out for him this season. And Alex Karaban, as much as I love Alex Karaban too, I don't know that he's the type of player, like he's getting All-American hype to enter the season. I don't know that he's the type of player that is like even capable of that. It reminds me a lot of when Matthew Mayer was the holdover for that Baylor team. Everyone's like, oh, he's like going to go off this year. And then he was like, fine. So anyway, those are my thoughts on UConn. I think they'll be a little bit less good than they've been, actually a lot less good than they've been. Still good. Like they'll make the tournament, but that's a team I'm prepared to be wrong about though, because like it's Dan Hurley and it's UConn and they've been a buzzsaw the last couple of years.
For context, Karaban, we'll get to him later actually. Preseason All-American according to the Blue Ribbon yearbook. Alex, not plant your flag team, excuse me. What team will you probably be wrong by at the end of the year? Give me 30 seconds.
If we thought UConn was a hot take, I'm going to go Kansas. I think I'm so low relative to the consensus, and that is just me. If I like sat down and scribbled out a top 25, I think I'd have them closer to 6 or 7 than I would to like 1 or 2. And so I think it has more to do. I don't doubt that you're kind of triumvirate of returning players in Dickinson and Harrison Adams isn't really good. And I like the additions of Storr and Griffin. But Storr shot 32% from 3 last year, and is that supposed to just remedy? Like, he's a great scorer. You can give the ball to him late, he can go get a bucket. But like, is that going to remedy this team's spacing concerns? I mean, Self seems so high on Zeke Mayo, but I don't know. I just have some concerns about the up transfers after Timberlake last year. So
they filled it
we'll
like
see.
a 3-to-1 ratio, though.
Rylan Griffin's good. All I'm gonna say is, with the Elmarco Jackson injury, Shaquille Moore's going to be out. Like, I'm slightly worried about the depth a little bit, and I'm prepared to be wrong about this because it's Kansas and it's Bill Self. So
that was their whole thing last year, is the Timberlake. It's an incredible point. They filled it. They filled his spot with like a 3-to-1 ratio of 3 guys that were like 4 times as talented. It like doesn't make any sense. And like, I get with you, the injuries is correct, and which is the whole reason we were questionable about.
Yeah, but Storr is not a good shooter.
I know. I'm with you. No, I'm with you.
I mean, is it possible Self like overcorrected because he didn't want a repeat of the Timberlake situation, and now he just has like all these mouths to feed that
1,000%.
I mean, somebody's going to be like very unhappy with the role that they have. I can almost guarantee that.
Yep. It almost feels like it's the opposite of the Nate Oates situation because of the way they play. Like that, it's just so interesting because I think they both did that. They both injected a lot of talent in places that they didn't need that much depth.
Yeah,
they need some, but it's just interesting. I think the two situations probably turn out completely differently. I'm with you there. Which team? Let's get in the weeds. What team ranked outside the end of the season top 25? I don't remember if I linked it in there or not, but if you guys can pull that up for me, that'd be awesome. Which team ranked outside the end of the season top 25 do you think will be the most dangerous or make the most noise? And I put however you'd like to take that. So, Karl.
The more I think about this, the more I like it. I'm going with Ole Miss. This team is loaded with upperclassmen, really good backcourt, brought in guys who, like, their defense wasn't that great last year, but that's like kind of something Chris Beard, I think, will definitely take steps to improve. And he already has. He added Dre Davis from Seton Hall. He added Brown Jones from UNCG. Like, he's adding pieces to make the defense better. It's a bunch of seniors and juniors that make up the rotation. They brought in Sean Padula, who scored 16 points a game last year. Basically, you like look up and down their lineup. It's guys who averaged double-digit scoring last year, and maybe there is a little bit of like a too many mouths to feed situation. But this is a group that returns a bunch of guys from a team that at times during last season was ranked in the top 25 for at least like a couple weeks. They were kind of like in and out. I think this year is like Chris Beard can take that next step with some of these core guys. I think he brought in guys who can contribute. I think Ole Miss could be like sneaky kind of dangerous.
The best part about that answer is that they did not get a single vote in the final top 25. So that's actually a great answer. You're pulling way down the barrel. That eliminates, 15 to 20 teams, others receiving votes at the end of the year. So, Alex?
I mean, after my spiel like 4 minutes ago, should I not just say Wake Forest again?
I mean, for the sake of time, you should. Yeah, I'm joking.
In the interest of giving a different team, I wrote down Maryland.
Ooh.
And
people are going to think that this is scripted. That's the funniest part about this.
Oh,
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you why, but it's just the defense. The defense is going to be there again, right? And so I just think it's a matter of if you can survive what is just going to be such a turbulent Big Ten season, and you can squeak into the tournament. That defense alone, forget the spacing concerns, whatever you have about that team. The defense alone could win you enough games in March that are just atrocious, like mid-afternoon true TV games to watch. But lo and behold, the Terps are in the Sweet 16. I don't know. I wrote that down mostly because I love Derek Queen. So
okay.
Yeah, I'm not pandering to Karl, but
I love it.
In the interest of not just saying Wake Forest again.
All right.
Our Big Ten preview is going to be so much fun, Alex.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. If it's out before this pod is, it'll be linked below at this point in the video. What player, coach, or program? Just pick one, or however you want to go with this. Which player, coach, or program has the most to prove, Alex?
Shire. You brought in. So I guess I don't want to talk about Duke too much, but he was on.
They only have 3 more questions after this. It's okay.
Yeah. He was on the precipice of a Final Four last season and got matched up with Kevin Keats, and you had a chance to right what went wrong in the NCAA tournament. And the roster construction that he had kind of stood by in the preseason reared its ugly head again. They didn't have a rim protecting center. Filipowski couldn't really stick with DJ Burns. And he has totally gone out and surrounded a team around a 17-year-old phenom that is going to bolt from Durham once April is over. So and my thing is he's 54 and 18 in 2 seasons at Duke. Like that's good. He has an ACC tournament title. He's made an Elite Eight. Like I don't discount any of that, but I do think the noise in Durham is going to get really loud if you have this talented of a freshman class and don't really do. I think if you don't get to Elite Eight again, and I really think like the chatter could get really bad if you don't make a Final Four with this roster, because you went out and deliberately constructed a team that was so different from last season's group. You have starters, everyone's taller than 6'5". You have 2 now kind of rim protecting bigs plus Flag, who you can just have kind of in that roaming defensive role. It's his most talented team he's had. It's his deepest team. It's just whether or not it lives up to the sky high expectations. And I hope it does for his sake, because Duke fans are already insane and nobody likes Duke. So the chatter surrounding the program from the outside won't get any better.
It's Final Four bust for me. Karl?
This is so easily Mike Woodson for me. Oh my goodness, dude. I feel like
yes.
Trevor, I apologize. I feel like I come on here every single year for the
every year
with
without
the same
fail.
Stupid Indiana rant, but I'm back again. I'm ready to run it back. If Indiana fans would like just shut up for a second and be honest with themselves and like realize that this guy has not lived up to expectations any year that he's been there at all. First 2 years, he inherits a top 5 player in the sport in Trace Jackson Davis. He wins a first 4 game before getting just waxed by St. Mary's. And then he wins a round of 64 game before losing in the round of 32. So that's what he had to show for himself with that team, which they were getting Final Four hype the second season, but nobody wants to talk about that. Last year missed the tournament entirely because Xavier Johnson gets hurt, and then you don't have any other options in your backcourt, which was a problem that he created because he didn't recruit anybody in the transfer portal to be part of that backcourt. This year, there's no excuses. This team is extremely talented on paper. I will be the first to admit that. They added Miles Rice. They added Umar Ballo. Malik Renault's returning. He averaged like 15 points a game last year. This team should be good. They should be one of the best teams in the Big Ten. They should win a tournament game. They're talented enough to win more than that. It's put up or shut up time for Mike Woodson. Like, honestly.
I love it.
That's
what a way to put a bow on that. Really quick, the Miami game specifically, there may not be in the last 2 years in a tournament game of a gap between 2 coaches. Like, and Larinaga not a top 5 or 10 coach in the country right now. He's not, but he's an incredible experienced coach who's coached back to the 70s, for crying out loud. And there may have not been a bigger gap in 2 coaches, minus like the 1 versus 16 games, if we're being real first with ourselves. All right, I love this question. Next, if both of you have answered that one, correct? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He said Duke. That's right. He said Duke. If not, I'll ask the non-Duke fan this. If not Cooper Flag, who's the best freshman in the country?
Karl. Oh, you're asking
me.
Karl. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, I alluded to this earlier. I think it's VJ Edgecombe.
Yeah,
I think he's that good. If you look at a lot of the lists, like I think Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper will both be very good, and I think you'll see that for Rutgers. I question a little bit how much Steve Peichel is going to like open up the offense and allow them to just like cook, because that's like not really what he's done since he's been at Rutgers. So maybe their talent gets like masked a little bit. Maybe they're kind of like pulling, shots and votes from each other. Liam McNeely, I think, will be good. Derek Queen, I think, will be good. But I think like we have a pretty good track record of Scott Drew, as I said before, featuring like freshman scorers. And I like VJ Edgecombe a lot, so I'm gonna go with him.
I just see it now. It's a February 10th. It's a Saturday. It's 6:30. Edgecombe has 35 points. They beat Houston or something stupid like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Alex?
VJ Edgecombe is probably the right answer. and I hear your concerns about the two Rutgers freshmen stealing shots from each other. I think it's Dylan Harper.
Okay.
I think, and I don't think this is going to be a popular take. I think Ace Bailey actually has to scale down to kind of accommodate Dylan Harper being successful. Like, I don't think it's the other way around. I don't think you end up trying to. Gosh, I'm articulating this poorly. It's
hard because it's going to be Cooper Flag. I mean, it literally is.
No, I actually think it could just be VJ in general, but I really like Dylan Harper, so I wanted to give him some prop because I think the ball will be in his hands a lot, and I'm really worried that Ace Bailey is just going to settle for a ton of contested mid-range pull-ups.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to transition to question number 10. And question number 10 is the SeatGeek question. So the SeatGeek question, SeatGeek code 2-pointers, $20 off your first purchase. Link in the top of the description. College basketball season is right around the corner. College basketball tickets are already really affordable. So why not get an extra $20 off your first purchase, right? Nothing hot about that. But the hottest take is question number 10, right? Nothing hot about SeatGeek. Great deal, right? Nothing, no hot take there. Alex, who is your, I keep forgetting who's next, but who is your, or what is your biggest hot take for the upcoming season?
I don't know how hot it is. I just think Drake Powell is going to be so good defensively that Hubert Davis can't take him off the floor. So okay. I don't know. I think the shot is a work in progress. But I think defensively, besides the article from Javoni a couple days ago that said Drake Powell was doing his best Herb Jones impression while guarding Cadeau and RJ Davis, there was a play he made his senior year, and maybe I shouldn't put much stock into tapes against a public North Carolina high school that has 400 students. But there was a play where there was a transition, and Drake Powell, it's like a 3-on-1, and Drake Powell blocks a shot, and a second and a half later is back up in the air after being on the baseline, contesting another shot, perfectly elevated, blocks that one. The point guard for the other team picks it up, dribbles twice. Drake Powell finds him on the perimeter, rips him, and then goes the length of the court and then finishes through contact. He is such a freak athlete, and I don't know. I'm so sold on his ability to just kind of immediately play 25 minutes a night for Hubert Davis just because you have to have him out there for his defense on opposing wings. So.
Karl, your hottest take presented by SeatGeek.
This is another one I sort of alluded to earlier. I think there's a world more likely than most people are willing to admit where Purdue is like pretty disappointing this year. I don't want to take away from Braden Smith at all. I think that guy is a dog. He's an absolute baller. He's going to be nasty. Could definitely live up to some of these, Big Ten Player of the Year, All-American level, aspirations that people have for him. I just think, bottom line, Purdue needs a lot of guys to step up, and there's only so much that Matt Painter can do from like a coaching and a scheme perspective to like make that happen. Getting a lot of hype for TKR over the offseason. I mean, we'll see. People really like Cam Heide because he had a disgusting dunk in the national championship game. But losing Lance Jones, Zach Edey aside, like losing Lance Jones is a big blow. So now you're going to need Fletcher Lawyer to step up as well. And so he's going into his junior year. This is the first team within 4 years that hasn't had an NBA lottery pick on it, as far as I can tell. And the last time Purdue didn't have that, they went 16-15. So I think there's a world where like Braden Smith puts up numbers, but the supporting cast is just not like all that it's cracked up to be.
All right. Go find out if Karl's wrong. If you're in the Purdue area, you get $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek.com. Link in the top of the description. Code 2-pointers, TWOPOINTERS. Again, link in the top of the description. All right. So now that we've got the SeatGeek stuff taken care of with question 10, let's roll through the next couple because I can't wait to get to the fun stuff. Not that none of this has been fun so far. By the way, one quick thing about Braden Smith. Braden Smith is Aaron Kraft with like the mentality of Ron Artest. That's my like weird comparison for him. It sounds psychopathic, but it's kind of true if you really think about it. You're talking about how crazy he is. He's a dog.
I like that.
if Aaron Kraft had, and you can insert any crazy person in there, any crazy basketball player, you can insert the brain for anybody, but you get my point. So, what percentage chance do you give UConn to win its third straight national championship? The number, Alex.
7.5.
Karl.
Yeah, I went lower. I said like 3 to 5%. I sort of talked about it earlier. But
I don't want to unpack this too much because everybody's talking about this for the last 6 months, and they're going to talk about it for the next 6 months until it ultimately does or doesn't happen. But like, is there not a world where they're at least in the Final Four? Like, are we that uncertain that they like? I know you mentioned the talent. I think all the stuff earlier was probably like insert Karl's, section about UConn earlier. I think it's all great. There eventually reaches a point. It's kind of like the Chiefs, right? Like, I know they don't have Patrick Mahomes. I get that. That's not my point. But like, there is ultimately a point where the Patriots, the Celtics, literally any dynasty ever, there's a point where you just have to kind of put your hands up and be like, they're probably going to at least be in the champion. Like the Chiefs, like again, 7 years, 6 years, 7 years in a row making the AFC Championship game. I know it's a different set of postseason parameters, but like, I don't know, man. They killed everyone last year.
I think 7.5% is actually kind of high if you just took percentage odds for the entire field of potential national champions. Like I actually felt like I was giving a lot of credit to Hurley with this roster with that percentage, honestly. So
yeah. Like I said, I had them in my team I'm ready to be wrong about section. So like I don't disagree that once, like, if they just get to the tournament, I think they definitely have a fighting chance to get to the Final Four. I think lower on them relative to other people.
All right. In the same vein of national champion, Karl, Duke, UConn, Kansas, or the field to win the national championship?
In these types of questions, I always take the field, but I will say that Kansas gives me pause for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, the field.
Okay. Alex?
The field. I just think Houston, Baylor, Bama, Carolina, whoever you want to insert, I think it's just too much to pass up, even if you're sliding Dan Hurley.
All right. This is one of my I have a few favorite questions. I've made that known already. What player in the Pacific time zone are you staying up late to watch the most? And this question I'm asking no matter how conference realignment exists. The half of the West Coast doesn't even exist at this point because of the ACC and Big Ten alignment, like we said. Obviously, it's those games are still being played, but we're all kind of annoyed about it. So what player in the Pacific time zone are you staying up late to watch the most, Alex?
I'm just going to go for a realistic answer because it's definitely Great Osobor. Like I can just picture coming back from work and just turning on Big Ten Network and Washington's hosting a home game. It's like 9 p.m. I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to watch. And so he's so good. He's going to be competing for first team all Big Ten on a Washington team that I actually think is going to be in the basement of the conference. So he's going to have a hard carry job. And so I don't know. Northwestern plays there in like mid-February or early February. So I was imagining myself like, yeah, he's the guy I was going to watch. I also thought of Sky Clark and Javon Porter for some reason. So those are the other two guys I had listed.
Oh God. You had an entire time zone and those were 2 and 3 is the best answer we've had.
Yeah. I can't. I don't have a reasoning for the other two, just that I like drama. So
Karl.
Early in the season, I could see myself tuning in to watch Jackson's Shellstad a good amount, just to see what that's about, to see if he actually has like a breakout year this year. But on a consistent basis,
if you ask Ryan Hammer, he's not having one. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah, right.
I mean, every time about eggs in the basket, the eggs are in the Jackson Shellstad basket for Ryan Hammer. Okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
On a consistent basis, though, I'm going Ryan Netmard. I love me some Ryan Netmard.
Nice. I'm going to pick a homer pick for me. I'm going with Anthony Del Orso, going up to the high major level, getting to see him play in that incredible backcourt. I'm so excited for the guy. Love him to death. So, Tyron Grant Foster is a good shout, but technically that once daylight saving time happens, doesn't that technically not? They're like, don't they not observe it?
Are they? I thought of him.
Really?
I thought of him as well, but I looked it up. Yeah.
Isn't Arizona Mountain Time too?
Are they? I went out there when I went out there. They were Pacific, I thought, because it was 3 hours ahead.
Oh, wait, who's in the Mountain Time zone?
I think Arizona's Mountain Time.
Is it really? God bless America.
Yeah.
Oh,
maybe.
sorry, Delhi. My bad, dude.
I'm fairly
Arizona's weird
certain.
because they don't do daylight savings time.
All right,
so-
I'll give you one then. I'll give you probably the dumbest answer you're gonna hear today. The name Cole Kastner is not going to ring a bell to anybody, but I'll be very, very quick. Cole Kastner played high school basketball in Palo Alto, California. For those that know where that is Stanford's obviously home city. He was an incredible high school player, and you guys are probably Googling him right now because you're like, who is this dude? He played 4 years at Virginia lacrosse, and he was a defensive master in lacrosse, and he is playing for Stanford this year, and he will be one of their better players this year. He's transitioning
Ooh,
with his
the
final
Cat
year.
Spencer vibes we
Going
got
to
going here.
going to final year of eligibility. He's playing for Stanford, and he's going to return home literally to Palo Alto, like 5 minutes from where he grew up. And he's playing for Stanford. It was always his dream, and it got achieved. And they're going to be really good. He's going to be really good. They're not going to be very good at all. So I will be staying up to watch however that turns out, and hopefully we have him on the pod here soon. All right. What team that missed the tournament last year? We got a few more of the non-fun ones. You get my point. What team that missed the tournament the last year has the best chance of just bouncing back and winning an NCAA tournament game, Karl?
Indiana, unfortunately. Or Arkansas. I'll give them a shot.
Arkansas is probably the better answer there. I love the you can't be so like Indiana earlier every year and then just be like it's probably them, by the way, because they really could lose their
I
first
just gotta
game.
be real. Like none of my hate is like unfounded. I'll be straight up about that. Like you can go back, look at the tape. Everything I've ever said about Indiana has been 100% correct.
That is true.
So,
Alex,
I mean, more Wake prop for me, but I had Wake, and then I also had Indiana.
okay, all right, more time for the other stuff. This is my favorite segment or question of this tier of questions here. Favorite mid or low major team and player. They don't have to be the same team or player, but like from the same group here, but it can be whoever. Alex?
Favorite mid major this year, probably. I mean, setting aside my childhood love for Davidson basketball, it's Princeton. I'm really excited to be able to watch Xavier Lee and Caden Pierce in person when they come to Dartmouth. So, or traveling to go see them in Jersey. I don't know. I just think it's unbelievable to me that Mitch Henderson hasn't been poached somewhere yet. So, I know they're relatively undersized, but those two are just so good. Player wise, I don't know if I didn't really have a favorite player, more so as I'm fascinated by the Baba Miller fit at FAU to see how that goes. I'm just interested in that experiment and whether they lean into him playing kind of the 5 or if they kind of have him like Florida State did.
That brings up a really interesting question we don't have time for, but is FAU actually a mid-major because of the conference they play in now? I mean, with the whole Pac-2 thing, it's like somebody has to be the next conference tier. I'm just thinking about all the Memphis fans that have argued that for so many years now. I'm just like, whatever, it is what it is. So, Karl?
Some teams I'm looking forward to. Bradley is one. High Point is another one. I really like High Point.
They were on my list. Yeah.
I like High Point a lot.
They might not be the best team in the Big South. So.
I think Bradley and High Point they return a good amount of contributors from last year's teams that were very good already, and they're bringing in like solid contributors as well.
Correct.
I'll give McNeese a shout too, just because like Will Wade, the Will Wade experience is the Will Wade experience. Player, Trevor, you might already know where I'm going with this. Dylan Williamson of Towson. Partially, in part, he went to the high school that's like 2 minutes down the road from the high school I went to, so I have like a little bit of a connection there. But after watching him towards the end of last season in the CAA tournament, the guy's he's a baller. He's so shifty. Pat Scarry came on the mic after one of the tournament games and was like, I don't know why we redshirted this kid. Like, he's so good. I'm a big believer in Dylan Williamson.
I can't wait to ask Scary. He comes up here to my neck of the woods for a CAA game at the end of the year, and I hope Williamson is like all CAA good by then. And I already have the question logged. I've already got it recorded to ask. I'm going to ask him straight to his face. Like, is redshirting him that first year, because they could have been really good that year. There was a couple things went a couple different ways. I'm going to ask him, was that your biggest regret? at Towson was redshirting him. I can't wait.
They'll probably be pretty good this year, considering I don't think
they're
going to
win the league.
Player transfer.
They're going to win the league. I'm just going to say, I'm saying it now. I'm spoiling my preview. Don't care. Towson's going to win the league. They're the best team in the league without a doubt to me. And anytime we can talk about the CAA for even if it's 50 seconds, I'll get my itch in. That's good. And so they're just like the fact that Tyler Tejada is like going to be underrated on this team is crazy. And he's the guy that hit that 66 footer last year. Karl and I are in attendance and he just hits a 66 footer like it was nothing. And I was like, I'm confused. All right. Let's move on to the last question. That is my favorite question that relates to you two personally. I know I keep saying it's my favorite, but this does truly relate to you two, so I'm very excited. Karl, what would be the outcome that you at the end of the year, realistically, you guys are very realistic fans, and I appreciate it about both of you. If every fan says, okay, I've got this outcome or that outcome, I want this to be the case, that would be the case. If you got to the end of the year and Maryland did blank, or what would be considered a successful season for Maryland?
This is such a lame answer, but just make the tournament, please.
Really? Is it that low?
It's a really, admittedly, it's a very, very lame answer, but I have to be realistic because I got a lot of flack last year for being like, guys, Sweet 16 cannot be the benchmark for this team just because they won a tournament game the year before. And then they ended up like falling far below the expectations that anyone set for them. The Maryland fan base soured on Kevin Willard pretty quickly after last season, which was a little bit discouraging because it was only year 2. It was, he's 1-1 in terms of like good years and bad years. This year, he brings in a lot of transfers, and I would like to see a Deshaun Harris-Smith breakout. Maybe that's part of the success. But there's just a lot of moving pieces this year. The conference got bigger by 4 teams. So I would just like to see them make the tournament. As like lame of an answer as that is, I think that would be a success. Just prove that like you can get there consistently. Like 2 out of 3 years, I'm happy with that. And then when we get to the tournament, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens after that, but just get there.
I think the way you landed, that's right though. 22-13 and NCAA tournament appearance the first year, which is always like first year for any coach of any, even with the expectations where they are currently in college basketball. People just expect people to just do what John Shire did, do what Kevin Willard did. They just expect that stuff, and it's just kind of, it sucks. Like it sucks for the mid-major and low-major coaches that go up and don't get the fair shot. And then obviously, 16 and 17 last year, you're probably there for half those games, and so, or at least half those games. So I know it's tough. I completely, I think the way you landed the plane there with the 2 and 3 years, or 3 and 4 years, or 5 and 7 years, or whatever, like that, building that consistent winning is how you keep your job. So, Alex, Northwestern, same question, but Northwestern.
Probably somewhere around middle of the Big Ten, just kind of in like 7 to 12 range, that literal middle of the pack. You probably finish, I don't know, 20 and no, that's probably too high. Like 18 and 13.
The optimism seems high though, like a little bit. Like there's some pieces that people are excited about.
Yeah. No, listen, I'm trying to tone my optimism down a little bit. I'm excited to see the ball in Brooks Barnheiser's hands as much as possible this year with booty ball. Like I think that could work. I think there'll be spacing, but I don't know. I like realistically, I think if Collins has this team in kind of the bubble conversation for the entirety of the year, I think that's a success after losing the program's most transcendent player ever. So I think, it's going to be tough because like these underclassmen of Northwestern students have such a small window into the history of the program. All they know is back-to-back NCAA tournament berths. And so I don't think I don't think an NIT berth is something to scoff at if that's the outcome this season. I think the biggest thing to me is making sure you bring along at least 1 or 2 of the underclassmen, or maybe the older guys that haven't got much PT. Like I think you need to see strides made from Justin Mullins, or you need it from I'm really high on KJ Wyndham making an immediate impact. And so I think if he can kind of show up and they get him in game reps, like I think that's positive, because next year is like you're going to lose Matt Nicholson and Brooks Barnheiser and Ty Berry. So like it's going to be a reset kind of. So I would like to see those guys strung along on a season where you're competing. Like I don't want to see it fall flat and you're just like staring at a 5-15 Big Ten season. So.
All right. I think it's great. I think you guys both ended and just landed the plane really well on those. And I think they're both realistic. And I think that's the answer I was looking for. And when they both finish second and fourth, we're all going to just look at this and laugh. All right. Here's the fun part. You guys have nothing down on your paper from now on, obviously. And that's the best part about it. And I know it's hard. So at the hour mark too. So let's get this fun started. Last year, you're probably wondering where the start bench cuts are coming from. And they're coming from here now. And so on the fly, these are a lot more fun. I hate to do this to you guys. I really do. But you know how much fun I like to have with these. So while I figure out my second one that I'm pivoting on the fly based on your answers the last hour, I'm going to redo the second one while you guys are answering. Start bench cut. I'll go with Karl first. RJ Davis, Mark Sears, Caleb Love. Let's just go right off the blue ribbon first team. So.
Oh, come on.
Oh, guys, it's not that easy. All right, you take your time if you'd like. Karl, give me the yours. If not, Alex, answer it.
It's pretty. I don't know. It's pretty straightforward. I think the only argument here, I think, is who you start and who you bench. But I'm cutting Caleb Love for what it's worth. I will start RJ Davis and I will bench Mark Sears. If you ask me again in 5 minutes, I might switch that, but that's what I'm going with for right now.
So one more time. Make sure I heard it right.
Start RJ Davis, bench Mark Sears, cut Caleb Love.
Okay, Alex?
You said that and immediately was start Sears, bench Davis, cut Love. And like that to me is the order. You have the head-to-head between Mark Sears and RJ Davis to lean on from last season. And I think and listen, I don't like being like, oh, lean on like 140-minute outcome, but I do think Mark Sears is the best guard in the country, so I will roll with that.
Dang it. Okay. Let's move on to freshmen. Start bench cut. I had to take out VJ Edgecombe. I just had to. You both were we spent 15 minutes on him earlier for crying out loud. So I took him out of this. So we'll go with Liam McNeely, Ace Bailey, and Kaman Malawak. However you say his name. Karl.
Oh, this
feel
is
better about this one.
Oh gosh.
I mean, I do like Malawak relative to I think where a lot of people have him listed, but who was first? Liam McNeely?
Liam McNeely, Ace Bailey, Kaman Malawak. Yep. This is 3 completely different type of players, too. That's the best part about this. At least the guards, you had to be like Ali said, there was at least a game crutch to go off of, which is totally fair, by the way. I'm with you on Mark Sears. Alex, are you more sure while he's thinking? Or are you more sure than Karl right now?
Yeah, do you have one?
Yeah, I don't like it. Oh goodness, this is so bad. This is so
give
bad.
you these ahead of time because then you would think for a week and then be like, I've got my answer. That's the best part about it. This is why I do this on purpose. So no one's safe for not getting questions ahead of time around here.
I would start Malwatch because
wow.
I think just the rim protection alone is enough to merit that spot. And then oh my gosh, I'm not.
It took me, while you're thinking, it took me 3 days to process that block he had on flag in that practice video. Like legitimately, it took me 3 calendar days to process that block.
Yeah, I think the offense will steadily come along. Like I think he's just going to be like a 6'6" 3 guy, and I think that's enough. But
which is exactly what Derek Lively was, which is the best part about it.
Yeah.
It's like he's better.
So
like
I think, yeah, I'd bench Bailey and I'd cut McNeely, but I don't like it. I can't get over. I don't think I'm in on Bailey like at all, and it's concerning to me.
I'm with you. I get it.
And because but you can't. Smarter people than me are like, yeah, Bailey could be the number 1 pick. And so part of me is like, I can't cut him. So maybe that's because I think if I was building a team, I might take Mount. I don't want to say anything stupid. Go ahead.
I don't like mine. Where I'm gonna land it is I'm gonna. This sucks so much, Trevor. I'm gonna start.
I thought the first one, by the way, I want to be abundantly clear for the audience. I thought the one with RJ, Mark, and Caleb was going to be the hardest one. So I'm very glad that one of these is this hard. Don't worry, we have one more coming, and it's one of y'all's favorite from last year.
I'm gonna start Ace. I'm gonna bench McNeely, and I'm gonna cut Malak.
What? I love that. Y'all literally flipped them. That's crazy. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you started.
And we both hated it. So like
you started Liam.
Yeah, I hate myself. I'm gonna lose sleep.
All right. So Karl started Liam, correct? I made sure I heard that right.
No, I started Ace.
Ace. Okay, you flipped. Okay, so you flipped those two. All right. I like this one a lot. I think. This is the last one of these, I promise. Hire, bench, fire. We talked about this last year. So you're basically you're hiring, you're demoting essentially to an assistant, or you're firing one of these 3 guys. I'll start with Karl. Sean Miller, Tommy Lloyd, and Matt Painter.
Oh.
What? Don't owe me. No, don't owe me. This is harder than you think. Think about it for a second. Just think about expectations for just a moment. Think about expectations and then okay. All right, Karl.
Well, this is based on their like coaching ability, right?
However you want to answer.
Obviously, because
fire bench fire.
Yeah, who would you start in a basketball game?
We're gonna get to something like that in a moment.
I'm hiring Painter. What is the next one?
Hire, bench, fire.
Bench. I'm hiring Painter. I'm benching Lloyd. I am firing Sean Miller.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the answer.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
Lloyd hasn't shown he can win a big game yet.
What about the Painter stuff earlier though? What about the Purdue stuff earlier? I know it's the expectations of the roster. If he's that good, he's going to make them better than 17 and 16 or whatever that last record was. Not having an NBA, whatever. I like that point earlier, but it's so hard for me to just put him there.
Painter's a savant to me. Like he's an insanely good like just X's and O's mind.
His X's.
He can only. My argument from before was like he is great. He can only do so much with like what he currently has. That was my argument from earlier.
Yeah, I think you said that, and I thought that was really easy. And Tommy Lloyd has such a proven track record as like the number 2 for an elite coach.
Yeah.
So,
true.
That was so clear cut to me. Like you're telling me we can send Tommy Lloyd to Europe while Matt Painter stays in the States, and they can both find just like these 7'3" giants, and then I'm in.
All right. So while I was looking up a different one, since it made me mad, Alex, what was your official 3? Did you agree with him?
Yeah,
you agreed with him.
Yeah,
right.
It's Painter, Lloyd, and then Miller's on the job market.
So technically, this is 22 question preview, but not going to change the title, not going to change the fun. I'm going to change this question. I'm going to give you one more. We'll be quick. Tom Izzo, Mark Few, or Greg McDermott? And Greg McDermott.
Oh, okay. No. I don't have an answer. This is going to make me think more than the other one did.
I want you to. I want this to be hard. I'm so mad. All right.
People are not going to like this. I can almost guarantee that. But in the current today's game, like who am I picking? I'm going to go Few, McDermott, Izzo.
Bingo. Yes.
That's my 3 in order.
As soon as I said it, I realized it wasn't that good. So thank you guys for that. All right. While we do this question, really quick for me, so when we get to the last question, we're on question 20. Go ahead and pull up actually here, I'm going to send it to you so you don't have to pull it up because it'll be really hard to find. I'm going to send you in this chat here when we get moving. The blue ribbon first, second, and third team, we'll need that for question 21. So obviously we don't have the AP ones. It's going to come in jumbled there. I can send them separately as well, but you'll need them. But obviously don't think too hard about the fact that I sent you those right now. That will be question 21. I just want you to be prepared.
Oh, okay.
Ish. So question 20. If you could play for any coach in the country, who would that be? Last year we talked about, the starting 5 that for those who don't remember, we did starting five
That was
last
a
year
good
of
one.
like who's the four guys around you that you could win a national. I think I said national championship is what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I don't. I'd have to pull up. I'll pull up the rosters while you guys are answering the starting fives you guys gave me. But so you can
I'm
ignore
more
that thing I
confident
said
in my
with Thatcher
basketball
stuff.
abilities, by the way, than I was a year ago. I've been in the
Oh,
lab.
nice.
I
Okay.
got worked by a 6'6" German dude on a post grad trip, so that made me.
Okay.
Hmm.
Whoever wants to answer this first, whoever's ready.
Gottlieb.
What?
I'm just kidding. That's a joke. I'm kidding. That's a joke.
I get to interview him next year when he comes to Campbell. I'm so excited.
I don't know why this was like one of the first names to pop into my head, but I think I'd love to play for Kim English.
Fryer. No. Fryer propaganda is awesome. Okay, tell me more. You can't just say that and then just leave it. You can't just say that and then walk
Well,
away.
I mean, I've sat there. I've observed his interactions like with his players. I've sat there in the media room as he's like giving answers. He just seems like an awesome dude. He's a DMV guy. I think I could like relate with him on that level.
Okay. Did you like the Georgetown slander?
I thought it was so funny.
Okay.
I thought it was very funny. Yeah.
Alex?
Oh, this is hard.
I like you immediately were like, uh-oh. Like you immediately thought about this one hard. I'm happy. I like that.
I mean, immediately some guys that came to mind. Early 2000s, Kelvin Sampson, when he was texting players too much. I love, I love to feel wanted.
That's
Rick Pitino, mid 2010s. Just if you know, you know.
The answer is this year, to be clear. But yes.
No, but oh gosh. Goodness, I wish I had. I met Brad Brownell when I was like 8. He was really nice to me.
And he's starting to win a lot now too.
That's not my answer.
I have a lot of Clemson viewers, so that would actually be a great answer.
He was really nice to me. It was great. I told him I was going to play.
He's a nice dude.
But obviously
he's a nice dude. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I would go. Goodness gracious. Probably.
Only 362 to choose from.
Yeah. No, I'm coming through a lot.
While he's thinking, I'll throw out Scott Drew.
Yeah, he's top 5 for me for this.
Bags you would be nice, that would be good.
I can't believe there's not like a clear-cut answer for either of you. That's the best part about this. You're like, there's 362 of them.
Yeah, there's like so many. Like there's
Tony
Bennett would probably be fun. I don't know.
Sorry, I don't mean to take this long. I just want to come up with an actual answer I like. Honestly, Steve Forbes.
There it is. The Wake Forest propaganda continues. I love it.
Honestly,
I was gonna read the teams from last year to give you some more time, but I like the Steve Forbes answer. My question last year for question 20, was put together a starting 5 of current players, but you are one of the 5 in the lineup with the goal to win a national championship. And just to remind you guys, since you definitely don't remember, probably, Zach Edey, DeJuan Harris, Alex Cervantes, Jared Shannon Jr., and PJ Hall. That is your 5. I mean, Zach Edey alone, I think that's a nice bump. So
that's a great team.
It is. It's really good. Jamal Shed, Karl Heiser, Justin Moore, PJ Hall, and Zach Edey.
I did think Justin Moore was going to have a much better season than he did.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So question 20 is over. I accidentally sent you question 21, so you've probably taken a peek at it. If not, it is in there now. I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it. Oh, the audio listeners are having a field day with this. Okay. Question 21. We always end this show with a bang. What preseason All-American, and we have to go off the blue ribbon because the All-American AP or whatever it's called is not technically out by now if we're recording this at the beginning of October. So the blue ribbon, shout out to those fellas. The blue ribbon first, second, and third team, I'm going to read. What preseason All-American would you have the best chance at beating in a game of ones?
Wait, can I have some caveats?
Sure.
No offensive rebounding. Like you get one shot, and then
however you frame this game is
you get one shot, ball up top.
Yeah, that's
Alright.
how.
So then you're just raining threes.
I think they're not even. I don't know. I always play like king of the court with like a dribble limit, but
okay, yeah.
I think that would hurt me. I think it would hurt me offensively, but I think it would aid me if a preseason All-American only has 3 dribbles.
Well, some of them can do a lot with their dribbles. Let me read them. First team is 100. What?
They're killing me.
They're going to be able to take 3 steps to the rim. They're going to be at the rim in 3 steps. That's the best part. First team All-American, Hunter Dickinson, Alex Caravan, RJ Davis, Caleb Love, Mark Spears, if you can't tell where the inspiration for the start bench cut came from. Second team, is it Johnny Brom or is it John Brom that I saw? I was giving him his name. Is it Janai? Yeah, see, this is why I have to relearn some of the names I don't cover as much. Janai Brom, Cooper Flagg, Wade Taylor, Zakai Ziegler, Braden Smith. That's the second team. And then the third team is Ryan Kalkbrenner, Graham Ike, Robbie Avila, Jawan Roberts, and Taman Lipsey. And don't say Jawan Roberts, whatever you do. He might kill you in that game.
So I can tell you, I can walk you through my rationale right now.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Taman Lipsey, immediately no.
It's fair. Yeah, he might be the best defensive guard in the world.
I'd like rip through and immediately lose the ball, and then he would score 11 times. Jawan Roberts, no. Kalk, no.
He would like a working sternum by the end of that game. Jawan's not the right answer.
Zakai Ziegler is immediately a no. Wade Taylor's no.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm as tall as him.
Zakai Ziegler? He's so much faster than me, and he's a good defender. This isn't.
Yeah, he's like an elite defender. Like you see that he's 5'9", and you're like, oh, I got this. But then he is still one of the best defending guards in the country. So then it's there's no point. Yeah, if it was a boxing match, then like
sure, yeah.
Cooper Flagg's too competitive. No,
competitive is a crazy answer.
Janai Broom, 7 foot. No. Hunter Dickinson, another 7-footer. No. Can I be honest? I think my answer is Caleb Love. Mostly because I think I will be able to tap into something. I think I'll be able to tap into something that just years and years of just boiling frustration, and then maybe I take a sidestep 3 and it goes in, and I lose 11-2. You know, oh god. I'm not beating it. What? I don't think I'm scoring on any of these guys. I just don't think. I think I would walk onto a court at Arizona and Caleb Love would just like laugh and not take the first like 5 possessions seriously. And so maybe I can score on one of those possessions.
Oh, all right. So Caleb Love is Alex's answer. Karl, you said wrong, so I can't wait to hear this. You said wrong.
It's a personal vendetta, though.
Yep, that's fair. I'm leaving that sigh in.
Brutal. Well, I can't pick anybody that's. I think right off the bat, I can't pick anybody taller than me or bigger than me because they're just backing me down in the post every single time, or they're.
I've met you. Does that rules out like 13 of these? 15?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's the problem, Trevor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. We're both the same height, I think.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna kind of go the flip side of Alex. I'm gonna go RJ Davis, actually.
Oh,
because here's my argument here. We witnessed Elliot Cadeau lose a 1v1 to a Twitch streamer, all right, over the offseason. There's something going on with that UNC backcourt. So I will be the random person to beat the other side of the tandem. That's how this will go. I'll lose 21-0.
My favorite.
I'll give it a fighting chance.
Is the second question I asked was who's the best backcourt in the country, and you said North Carolina.
Yeah, fully knowing like Elliot Cadeau did lose a 1v1 to a Twitch streamer.
Didn't he win? Didn't he win the other game though?
Maybe, I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
I think he did.
I'm all about clips over here.
Well, here's my thing. That was very clearly again concerns about the jump shot. He was settling for mid ranges, and he was Those things were clanking off the back iron. But
that was pre the video.
Now listen,
recently.
RJ Davis terrifies me because someone in that gym would have a camera, and I think RJ Davis is putting me in a spin cycle before Caleb Love does. Like, I think Caleb Love just goes like tween, hezzy, and then just like blows by me for a layup. I think RJ Davis uses like all 3 dribbles, and my ankles snap, and then he hits a 3. So,
I don't like my answer at all.
It's Graham Ike for me.
Oh, he's had
stone feet since he was like 16.
He's too strong, though. There's no way.
No, yeah, he's too big.
All it takes is 1 or 2 little tiny moves. I'm not slow. I'm not fast in any way. I'm not. But it just in basketball, all it takes is a little bit of separation sometimes. I know he's 6'9".
Yeah, but he's 6'9". You know how much ground he can cover?
I'm aware, but I'm going with the one thing that I can take advantage of is he is the slowest guy on this list, and it's not close. He is.
Robbie Avila might be.
Okay, yeah, no, sorry. That is probably the right answer. He's the second slowest guy on this list.
Well, what are you?
He just got stone feet, man. Like all this Gonzaga. He was such a that Gonzaga team was just hard to watch last year for me.
What are you doing when you miss?
Oh, I'm screwed when I miss. I didn't say anything about winning. I just said the best chance.
Well, the question's about winning.
The question is the best chance at winning. None of us are winning this game. It's not happening.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Next year I'll be asking you. Next year I'll be asking you who's your starting 5 of podcasters to beat the first team All-American team, and we'll just call it that. You have a year to think about it. So, first team of podcasters to beat first team All-American.
I'm going back through this question, trying to think of like any possible angle.
I thought I had something with Graham Ike, but you both think I'm wrong. So this is good. I love this.
It's too big.
I just think the post is like too much of an issue.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
I mean, Wade Taylor, he's fast, but he's not like. I mean, he's not.
He's really quick. He's really good. If he gets gets like overconfident and just starts like bombing threes, then like maybe
like 8 for like 28 or whatever it was.
Game. Like then maybe you have a fighting chance if you're.
He might not need that.
You don't have a chance against any of these guys. There's just no way.
I think if you poll the general public, I think the 2 answers you would get are Zakai Ziegler because of his height, and then Braden Smith because they're non-ball knowers.
Bingo. Braden Smith was going to be the big answer. We might do a poll when this comes out. We might do a poll.
It's a good straw poll. I just don't. I don't want to. I don't want to see Braden Smith.
All right, you guys have got a lot going on. That wraps up the 21 questions preview. You guys, thank you for sticking around for longer than I asked for, but this question alone deserved however much time you wanted to give it. So thank you guys so much. Seriously, we've got a few minutes here. Let's get you some plugs in because I know even just in the last year, you guys have done so much in college basketball and beyond. Alex is covering football now up in the Northeast. Is it cold already, Alex? And then plug away.
Yes, I was up this morning super early. It was like the Northeast doesn't make sense to me yet. It was like 42 degrees, and then by noon it was like 70. It was too quick. But yeah, I went to an equestrian match today for the first time, so that was interesting. I was horsing around this morning, but I'm sorry, I didn't need to make that dad joke. Yeah. Anyway. I am working for the Valley News, which is a paper in New Hampshire and Vermont now. And I am covering high school sports and Dartmouth athletics there. So I'm probably going to be posting more stuff on my Twitter than I have, but it's on the website, support local journalism, all those type things.
That's right.
Yes.
I love it. You'll be able to find the next Cooper Flag, even though he's Maine. You get my point.
Yeah. And obviously listen to the 2 Pointers pod and the Jim Range pod. So,
and then look, let's not undercut anything here. Since the last time we talked, you guys, you graduated from Northwestern. I mean, that's like you have to look at that and say, okay, like that is a shining achievement that now earns you a chance to watch high school sports in the middle of December. So,
can't wait for ice hockey.
Oh man, yep, warm indoors. Karl, plug away.
Yeah, I don't know. We kind of fell off with posting episodes last year, but the Jim Range podcast will be back in full force this time around. So we'll have a bunch of stuff out. We're starting our previews, starting recording, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. We'll see. It depends as the schedule allows, but we're planning to have a full season of podcasts, which I'm very excited for. I'll have a bunch of written content that I'll be posting on my Twitter, so you can follow that at kheisercbb. And then I'll be at like Maryland and Georgetown games this year. So if you happen to be there, come say hi.
You guys have any games on the calendar that you're already looking forward to that you know for a fact you're probably going to be there? Just curious.
Currently no, but I do know no like specific games that I've like really highlighted, but I do know the A10 tournament and the CAA tournament will both be in DC this year. So that's projecting
That's right.
quite a ways. And also they don't overlap at all, which is great. So I can just like
That's right.
go to one, go to the next one, which is fantastic. But so looking forward to that. That's a ways away, but hoping to be there. Yeah. That's all.
I'm sad because Charleston UNCW, the rematch at Trask, is on a Thursday night. That is tragic. So that was my answer until I found that out. Alex, any fun games you got going on this year? I know you got Dartmouth Sports, so that's Princeton. I think you mentioned that game earlier.
Yeah. I don't really know what the winter looks like yet because a lot of it is just balancing with high school sports, but Dartmouth is not good at basketball, but I'm going to be at some games. That's for sure.
Hey, if you have a chance to see that Princeton team like you talked about, it's already highlighted. Just know that one has to work out. So if we can, I'm excited to see the coverage from anything you guys do this year. Greatly appreciate your time today. For the new listeners, follow these guys. Ats are on the screen if you're on YouTube. Everything will link to be in the description as well. This has been the 2 Pointers podcast. The college basketball season is almost here. Don't forget, you can get the pre-order of the college basketball magazine, everything college basketball and House of College Hoops this year. Everything will be in the link in the description below. Pre-orders will end probably around the time this goes out, so they'll be ready and live to be purchased. But with that being said, this has been the 2 Pointers podcast. I'm Trevor Everett. We will see you when college basketball begins.